Chapter 17. Slaughter. 1. When he saw the other enter the courtyard, Lu Changsheng was in no hurry. He remained still, quietly waiting. He planned to let his target finish his business first, then strike in the dead of night. That would be the moment Zhao Erhu was most off guard. Time passed slowly. An incense stick's worth of time soon slipped by. The lanterns in the courtyard gradually went dark. Lu Changsheng put on his mask, drew his cleaver, and strode quickly toward the front yard. Reaching the edge of the wall, he leapt up and vaulted straight into the courtyard. Ever since breaking through to the leather refining stage, his explosive power had become astonishing. The fence was more than a meter high, yet he cleared it with ease. Once inside, he moved rapidly toward the bedchamber. Bang! With a single kick, he smashed the wooden door open. Before Zhao Erhu and Widow Zhang could even register what was happening, he suddenly rushed upon them, cleaver raised high, and hacked down with ruthless force. Even the air itself seemed to screech as the blade split through it. He hadn't chosen to quietly push the door open. Inside was unfamiliar territory, and he would be discovered sooner or later. Besides, with this kind of old, creaky wooden door, opening it silently was impossible. Not good. An expert is attacking us. Feeling the killing edge bearing down, Zhao Erhu's face turned to sheer horror. He could not recall when he had ever offended a martial artist. He had always been cautious, never crossing anyone of that world. At most, he had bullied a few commoners, nothing more. But time was too short for him to think further. In Widow Zhang's despairing eyes, he suddenly snatched her up and hurled her forward. At this moment of life and death, a woman was nothing but a tool. As long as she could buy him half a breath's delay, it was worth it. Immediately after, he snatched up the broadsword beside his bed, ready to counterattack. All this while, he had kept a secret in his heart. A year ago, he too had broken through to the leather refining stage. With this treasured blade in hand, even if his assailant was also leather refining, he had nothing to fear. Tonight I'll see how you die. Zhao Erhu's heart blazed with fury. Slash. In the next instant, Widow Zhang was cut cleanly in half. Blood sprayed wildly as her body collapsed to the floor. Lu Changsheng's expression was ice cold. He showed not the slightest mercy. Without pause, his cleaver kept its ferocious momentum, hacking straight toward Zhao Erhu. Kill! Thanks to Widow Zhang's obstruction, Zhao Erhu finally had a sliver of breathing room. He swung his broadsword, with all his might, murderous intent bursting forth. The weapon in his hand was a nearly 100 times forged, treasured blade, something he had paid a steep price to obtain. And now this intruder actually dared meet him head-on in a clash of blades. Utter folly. Confidence surged within Zhao Erhu. In the darkness, neither could clearly see the other's face, but they could both feel the murderous intent radiating from their opponent. When Zhao Erhu struck, Lu Changsheng realized at once. His foe was also a leather refining martial artist, and his weapon was no common steel. Fortunately, he had not been reckless enough to come seeking vengeance before his own breakthrough. Otherwise, the consequences would have been disastrous. Crack! In a flash, the two weapons collided. Zhao Erhu's broadsword was sheared cleanly in two, the cut smooth as glass. Lu Changsheng's cleaver, unstoppable as a rainbow, pressed straight on toward Zhao Erhu. In Zhao Erhu's disbelieving eyes, with a blood-curdling scream, his head was sent flying into the air. Fresh blood sprayed, staining the wooden bed scarlet. His headless body slumped lifelessly against the headboard. Phew, Lu Changsheng exhaled lightly. If not for the 100 forged cleaver in his hand tonight, Things might have dragged out far longer had Zhao Erhu escaped. The effort would have been wasted. It seemed clear. Weaponry could dramatically bolster one's strength. This gave him a new understanding of the path to increasing his power. Cultivation realm was the foundation of everything, but weapons and martial skills were equally vital. Escape techniques and movement arts were also crucial. If a fight could not be won, retreat was still survival, and as long as one lived, there was always hope for a comeback. After a short pause, he sheathed his weapon and stepped over to Zhao Erhu's corpse. He carefully rifled through the man's chest, retrieving a stack of banknotes and a booklet, which he tucked into his robes. Then he turned and left without looking back. The next morning, at dawn, the courtyard of Widow Zhang was already crowded with people. Among them were many members of the Three Rivers Gang, including Zhao Erhu's underlings. Who could have done this? A black-clad man pointed at the headless corpse on the ground. His face, filled with killing intent. Someone had dared to kill one of their men within the territory of the Three Rivers Gang itself. This was blatant provocation. If they failed to hunt down the murderer, what face would their gang have left? The gang members exchanged glances, then all lowered their heads. None of them knew what sort of powerhouse Zhao Erhu had offended, so all pretended ignorance, silent as the grave. I'll be reporting this matter to the Hall Master. Chapter 18. Slaughter. 2. The man in black spoke with an icy tone. At that moment, Chen Yuan stepped out from the crowd. Dead, dead, good, good. His eyes were vacant, his face utterly dazed. The man in black's gaze turned cold, yet he did not lash out. He simply walked out of the courtyard, but the very next day, someone discovered Chen Yuan lying in a foul drainage ditch, his face half gnawed by rats. A horrifying sight. As 2 more days passed, the news of the minor leader of the Three Rivers Gang being killed spread everywhere. Many neighbors secretly clapped their hands in joy, sighing that retribution had finally come. Zhao Erhu had committed every possible evil in the district. People had long despised him to the core. Now that a martial expert had struck him down, it naturally brought unrestrained delight. Three Rivers Gang Headquarters, Fenglei Hall. Inside a grand hall, a burly middle-aged man sat on the main seat. This man's frame was tall and imposing, clad in a tight-fitting crimson robe. His eyes shone like lightning, his body radiating a dense killing aura. Have you found out who did it yet? Wang Yong's voice was frigid. As a hallmaster, no one had ever dared slap him in the face like this. Even one of his own gang leaders had been beheaded. Zhao Erhu had always been someone he favored. He had even offered his own elder sister to Wang Yong. The two had thus become relatives by alliance. With Wang Yong's help, Zhao Erhu had even broken through to the skin training realm, his strength rising greatly, and yet, in the blink of an eye, he was dead. This filled Wang Yong with unquenchable fury. These past days, his concubine had been making a great fuss, insisting that the killer be found at all costs. Reporting to Hall Master, we still haven't identified the culprit, the man in black. Knelt on one knee upon the floor, his face full of fear and reverence. Expend every effort to track this matter. Once the culprit is found, slaughter his entire family and bring me his head. Murderous intent surged in Wang Yong's eyes. With a wave of his hand, he dismissed the black-clad subordinate. Your subordinate obeys. Wang Shoren gave a heavy nod, then turned and strode out of the hall. It was fitting that such an investigation be led by him, a protector. Most likely the killer's cultivation was only at the skin training realm. With his own flesh refining and cultivation, he was more than capable of cutting such a foe down. Inside the bedroom, Lu Changsheng laid out his spoils of war and began taking stock. A stack of banknotes rested quietly on the table. He counted them, 100 taels in total. This was already a considerable sum, which pleased him greatly. He could now improve his meals. At last, he would not have to subsist on coarse black bread every day. Next, his gaze fell on the book lying beside them. Iron Leg Art. 3 bold characters were stamped across the cover. Another martial manual. Lu Changsheng's heart stirred slightly, and he began carefully flipping through it. This technique was clearly more profound than the widely circulated iron cloth shirt. Rustle, rustle. Very soon, the sound of pages turning echoed through the room. Half an hour passed as Lu Changsheng became wholly absorbed in the manual. It was a complete cultivation method, not only containing diagrams of techniques, but also medicinal baths to complement the training. Its value was by no means small, so this was Zhao Erhu's cultivation method. Even if he himself would not use it, he could later pass it on to train subordinates. As Lu Changsheng flipped to the final page, a blue light curtain appeared. In the air, he saw the martial arts column had changed. Martial arts, iron cloth shirt, great accomplishment 5%. Iron leg art, entry 1%. Just by reading it once, he had directly achieved entry-level mastery. Lu Changsheng was astonished. This must surely be tied to his iron cloth shirt, already being at great accomplishment. His leg muscles and skin had long since begun transforming, sparing him the arduous toil usually needed to enter the technique. Looking at the martial arts column, he saw a new option appear. Fusion. Could it be? Lu Changsheng's heart quickened with anticipation. If his guess was correct, as long as he obtained a large number of martial manuals, he could continuously fuse and evolve them until the iron cloth shirt was pushed to its ultimate limit. From now on, collecting martial arts manuals would become one of his primary goals. However, for the time being, his energy points were too few. He could not yet put this to the test. Chapter 19. The Demon Suppressing Division. Luk Sin put away the secret manual and sat quietly on the edge of the bed, contemplating his next plan. The matter of him killing Zhao Erhu could not be concealed for long. The Sanhe gang would soon uncover clues. He had never underestimated any faction. The other side had stood strong for many years. Their intelligence network was bound to be formidable. Even if just an ordinary hallmaster of the Sanhe gang took action, it was not someone he could possibly resist. Unless his strength skyrocketed, he had absolutely no chance of survival. At this moment, a deep sense of urgency welled up within him. It seems I must join a faction. Luke Sin's eyes flickered. Given his current situation, there was no way he could contend with an entire faction. He could only choose to borrow strength. In the outskirts of Shuangbin County, there were 2 major gangs. Besides the Sanhe gang, there was the Heisha gang. In addition, there were 3 major escort agencies and 4 powerful local clans. Of course, the strongest force remained the government authorities. Luke Sin immediately ruled out the other factions and set his sights on the county office. With his strength at the skin refining level, even if he joined a gang or an escort agency, he would be nothing more than a small leader. Whether they could withstand the pressure of the Sanhe gang was doubtful. Perhaps they might even betray him. His only choice was the county authorities. The government of Shuangbin County was divided into 2 forces. Besides the county Yamen's black armor soldiers, there was also the Demon Suppressing Division. The black armor soldiers were under the command of the county captain, falling within the authority of the county magistrate, but the Demon Suppressing Division was entirely independent of the county Yamen system, a faction of its own, since the founding ancestor of Great Joe swept away demons and established the dynasty. The Genwu Guard had been created to oversee the realm. After hundreds of years of evolution, it had transformed into today's Demon Suppressing Division. In recent years, due to its overbearing influence, the division had been suppressed somewhat, yet it remained a powerful office. Its duty was to cooperate with the magistrate in suppressing bandits throughout the county, while also handling various strange and inexplicable incidents. Through his days of martial training, Lu Truongxin's horizons had broadened. This world was not as simple as it appeared. Countless unexplained disappearances, coupled with the very existence of the Demon Suppressing Division, gave him vague suspicions. Perhaps some mysterious force was lurking in the shadows. But there was still about a month before the Demon Suppressing Division recruited new members. All he needed to do now was wait. As long as he passed the assessment and joined the division, the Sanhe gang would never dare openly move against him. Otherwise, it would be tantamount to provoking the Great Joe Court, unless they sought their own annihilation. Though the court had grown weaker over the years, it was still not something a mere gang could provoke. Having settled on his plan, Luk Truongxin finally let out a breath of relief. He went to the kitchen to prepare a simple meal, then stepped into the courtyard and began practicing his saber forms. Even with the existence of the modification panel, he had not completely abandoned his own cultivation. It was a precaution. If the panel ever deserted him one day, he would not be left helpless. The following days passed in arduous training. That morning, just after Lu Truongxin finished breakfast, the siblings Fuang Tin and Fuang Jiao arrived at his courtyard. Their faces were grim, as though something serious had happened. "What has happened?" Luk Truongxin asked with a hint of doubt. Fuang Tin quickly led her younger brother over. "Yesterday, something strange happened in a village near Wu Lin town. All of its inhabitants vanished mysteriously." Her voice was low and solemn. "You must not leave the city these days." "I understand." Luk Truongxin's expression grew heavy. Another bizarre disappearance. It sent a chill through his heart. The situation of the Great Joe had grown ever more chaotic in recent years. A dark shadow lingered in his mind, refusing to disperse. The more clues he uncovered, the colder he felt. "It seems the truth will only become clear once I join the Demon Suppressing Division," he thought to himself. At that moment, Fuang Tin suddenly spoke softly. "I heard from Zhao that you've already stepped into martial cultivation. Before long, you'll become a true martial artist, won't you? Here, take this silver and buy some meat to nourish yourself." She placed a pouch of coins on the stone table, her beautiful eyes fixed quietly on Luk Truongxin, a glimmer of expectation in them. In her heart, seeing him abandon his old ways of brothels and gambling dens, earnestly devote himself to martial training, and even achieve some success, it filled her with relief. Surely Uncle Lu, watching from the afterlife, would also feel at peace. "Thanks you, Sister Tin. I'll accept your kindness, but my father left me some silver." Luk Truongxin smiled faintly, a warm feeling rising within him. He firmly refused. That silver was likely her savings of more than a decade. He still had 100 taels in banknotes, waiting for the storm to pass before exchanging them. He chose not to tell them, nor did he mention that he had already become a martial artist. "Very well then. but be careful with your training. If you can't become a martial artist, find another livelihood and take a wife." Wang Tin smiled softly, her beauty radiant. Luke Truong Sin didn't explain further. He only nodded gently. After chatting for a while and sharing a meal, the siblings bid farewell. Time slipped by, and soon night had fallen. Lu Truong Sin lay on his bed, carefully examining the modification panel's inner space. A few days ago, the injuries of the beast, the burrowing armored beast, had fully healed, and it had begun to explore the entirety of Little Cloud Mountain. He did not control it, letting it act freely. At this moment, he felt a trace of expectation, hoping it might discover something valuable. That would conveniently replenish his shortage of source energy points. Shifting his gaze to the system's space, he saw over a dozen medicinal herbs lying quietly, faintly glowing. His face lit up with joy. It seemed Little Cloud Mountain was rich in resources. In just a few days, he already had more harvests. He immediately took the herbs out and placed them on the bed's edge, scanning them one by one with the system. Fire Cloud Flower, 30-year medicinal spirit, treats consumption. Shadow Grass, 20-year medicinal spirit. Yellow Star, 60-year medicinal spirit. Very quickly, Luke Truong Sin had finished scanning all the herbs. Among them were 8 herbs over 50 years old. He picked up the Yellow Star. At that moment, a crisp system prompt rang out. Unknown energy detected. Absorb? Absorb, Luke. Truong Sin nodded silently. The Yellow Star instantly vanished, and the source energy points on the panel rose by 2. His face broke into a delighted smile. It seemed any herb over 50 years old could be absorbed into source energy. Those nearing 100 years could yield as many as 6 points. As for herbs older than that, he had yet to encounter any. Next, Luke Truong Sin absorbed all 8 herbs, converting them into 16 source energy points. Watching the numbers soar, he was overjoyed. As long as the burrowing armored beast kept exploring the mountains, he would have an endless supply of herbs to convert into source energy, rapidly raising his strength. The mountain's other martial artists deemed forbidden grounds would become his own personal garden. The thought left him trembling with excitement, his fists clenching involuntarily. The herbs under 50 years old could also be sold for silver to improve his daily life. Not bad at all. As for high-grade herbs, even with silver, they were nearly impossible to buy. After a while, Lu Truong Sin set his thoughts aside and drifted into sleep. The night passed without incident. The next morning, after washing up, he stepped into the courtyard. After a round of saber drills to warm up, he opened the panel. Now that he had source energy points, he could no longer wait. He began advancing his strength. Chapter 20. Iron Cloth at Perfection. 1. Lu Truong Sin directly pressed the plus sign behind Iron Cloth. The source energy points instantly dropped by 8. Shh. As a warm current surged through his body, he seemed to enter a mysterious space, beginning endless days and nights of bitter training in Iron Cloth. In the first year, you trained day and night without pause, progressing at astonishing speed. After 5 years of cultivation, your Iron Cloth has reached 50% mastery. Progress gradually slows. After 10 years of bitter training, your Iron Cloth has reached 70% mastery, and you remain diligent without the slightest slackening. After 20 years, you have finally cultivated Iron Cloth to perfection. Lu Truong Sin slowly opened his eyes. Deep within them seemed to flow the river of time, incomparably profound. He clenched his fists, a surging tide of mighty strength rising in his heart. The skin and flesh covering his body glowed with a bronze-like luster, his defensive power unimaginably terrifying. Through arduous cultivation, he had at last trained iron cloth to perfection, and his realm had also advanced to the copper skin stage. He looked toward the attribute panel before him. Host, Lurks Sin, age, 20, 80, realm, copper skin, martial arts, iron cloth, perfection, iron leg art, entry 1%, skills, basic saber technique, great mastery, equipment, 100 forged pig-slaying saber, scarlet, status, good source energy points, 8 bound beast, burrowing armored beast, white. There's still a plus sign after iron cloth. Staring at the grey plus sign, Lurks Sin was rather astonished. Could it be that perfection is not the true limit of skin refinement? This thought stirred a ripple in his heart. The higher martial cultivation advanced, the harder it became. Yet every breakthrough brought benefits beyond imagination. Even lifespan would be extended, thanks to reaching the early stage of martial cultivation. The losses of his body had been replenished, and his lifespan now reached around 80 years. Skin refinement was the very beginning stage of a martial artist. It was the foundation. The more solid the foundation, the greater the potential in the future. At the same level, one with a stronger foundation would naturally possess greater strength. This made Lurks Sin all the more eager to see the transformations to come. Not only that, but there was also the fusion techniques function awaiting his verification. However, at present, his source energy points were insufficient. Even iron cloth could no longer be raised further. Raising it to perfection had already consumed 8 points. If he wanted to increase it again, the consumption would surely be even more astonishing. He needed a vast amount of source energy points. With that thought, Lurks Sin stepped into his room and split off a strand of consciousness, directing it toward the burrowing armored beast. While there was still some time before the demon-suppressing division recruited martial artists, he intended to once again explore Little Cloud Mountain. Perhaps he could find more valuable treasures. As his thought shifted, Lurks Sin discovered that he had appeared in an underground space. All around was darkness, nothing but damp soil, filled with the pungent scent of earth and the fragrance of vegetation. This was a space more than 10 meters below ground, incomparably safe. The surrounding area for dozens of meters was all interconnected, resembling an underground fortress. It seemed that these days, the burrowing armored beast had not been idle. It had dug out an entire lair. Lurks Sin did not act rashly, but instead carefully examined the memories of the burrowing armored beast. Before long, he had grasped the basic situation of the entire Little Cloud Mountain. The mountaintop, within dozens of miles, was occupied by a pack of fierce beasts. Compared to the foot of the mountain, the medicinal herbs on the summit were of higher age and value, and their quantity was also far greater. Those fierce beasts guarded most of the medicinal herbs. They too knew that such things brought them great benefits. Thus, they treated them as their own forbidden possessions. With a single thought, Lurks Sin activated the burrow skill. Shh! The claws of the burrowing armored beast quickly grew longer and then shed. Moments later, a pair of claws turned bronze in color, radiating a faint glow, their hardness clearly a level stronger. The beast's attribute panel also changed. Bound, beast, burrowing armored beast, white, level 1, skills, burrow, refined. Hardened armor, refined. Source energy points. 6 Lu. Truong Sin raised its claws and dug forward. Swish, swish. In just a few breaths, a large amount of soil was excavated from the tunnel, the speed more than twice as fast as before the breakthrough. Indeed, after a skill advanced, it became far more formidable. Lu Truong Sin was quite pleased. Burrowing was a fundamental skill, directly tied to the survival of this beast. Thus, it was naturally of utmost importance. Moreover, with the greatly increased digging speed, the underground search range could be expanded even further. He could even collect certain spirit herbs underground without ever needing to surface, remaining safe all the while. Of course, some spirit herbs growing on the surface still had to be gathered above ground. With the sudden increase in speed, Lu Truong Sin brimmed with momentum. He advanced to a space 5 or 6 meters beneath the surface, then began digging forward with full strength. Swish, swish. A long tunnel quickly took shape in the underground space.